Welcome everyone to my channel, Magavanan, which means well met. To those of you who are new to my channel and you happen to stumble upon it because of the title. So one of the things that I have been realizing is that I have been coming up to this type of realization, and I have been using Tolkien as a way to kind of get the message across. Because in this world, sometimes when you come out with an idea, you're not really believed unless you can show that others have had this idea as well. Because when we have a shared dream, then it is not a delusion of one individual, but it is a understanding of a group of people that are having similar, memories and ideas. And so this video, I feel, is basically the pinnacle of my channel. It has been what I've been leading up to and what I have been doing. And so I'm really excited to read this to you. I'm shaking a bit. I have my jasmine tea here, and I am happy to discuss this with you about our past lives in Atlantis and what it all means, and how many of us may have these past life memories and we feel this connection to Atlantis and Lemuria. Well, cat's out of the bag. Tolkien actually says in his book, Letters of Tolkien, when I was doing research about Atlantis, he actually does admit in a subtle way that he has a type of a past life memory that was very reoccurring in his life, and he even passed it down later on to his own children. So I would like to start off by reading from Edgar Cayce's book, who was a modern day medium, and he was somebody that was very much, I guess, one of the most famous psychics and mediums of the time. And this was during the early 1900s that he existed. And he did a lot of prophecies and kind of this reading into the future of what would happen, especially focusing on America. And one of the chapters that he has in this book, this was written by somebody else, but one of the chapters that takes his prophecies and puts it all in this book here is about Atlantis rising. So I want to read you a couple pages from this book to show you what Edgar Cayce was saying about Atlantis, because something that I have continually felt within me, and I know that I'm not alone in this, is that Atlantis and Lemuria are rising again. That's why this is the whole new age, the golden age of man, the age of Aquarius, where people are interested in crystals and are getting in touch with kind of the quantum energy of the world. And we are starting to play with energy, and we're starting to understand ourselves as gods and goddesses or creators. But there is a type of warning that comes with that. And we have an opportunity to be able to step around kind of the hole that happened within the Atlantis timeline. And now is a different chance for us to actually really evolve ourselves and not go the same route as we did in the past. So let's begin here. So Atlantis rising. Atlantis to rise again, expected in 68 and 69. Not so far away. Such was the amazing prediction given on June 28, 1940 by Edgar Cayce. Can we count on it? Science has taken a look at Cayce's forecast and has stated the equivalent of maybe so. It is difficult to believe there ever was such a continent as Atlantis or its Pacific Ocean counterpart, Lemuria, and yet the idea intrigues us and becomes more believable the more we study the Cayce data. And one of the things I just want to stop right there is that in some of my videos, I think there was one video where I kind of intuitively said that the Pleiadians, if you resonate with the Pleiadians and if you feel like you come from the Pleiades, they kind of came into Earth in droves. Like our soul actually came from the Pleiades, and we came after the 60s, because that was a time where, humanity was entering that age where we were really ready to move forward and to see basically a big change in mankind. So that's why a lot of people feel that they are from the Pleiades, because they are kind of assistants in this, in bringing forward this kind of new age. And there's a lot of different players involved. They come from lots of different places. And just to get this across, I believe that we all come from one source together, but we all experience ourselves really very truly and honestly as different perspectives from that one source, so that we can add to the collective experience and provide the different perspectives that basically the 11th dimension of reality exists in, where it's multiple minds all together, infinite minds, infinite timelines, alternate timelines, infinite creations of different universes. They all exist in the 11th dimension. So in these lower dimensions, we experience ourselves as very different and unique. And so part of why some people experience themselves as coming from another planet into Earth is really the integration of all the different souls from basically all different timelines kind of converging on Earth again. And we're entering into this timeline that Cayce was speaking about, where it was going to be the rise of Atlantis again. Because in the past, and we'll get more into that, Atlantis was a civilization of greatness, but it fell. And so we are entering a time where we are being brought up to really big questions in society that will either allow us to rise like Atlantis once again, and maybe this time not fall. Maybe this time not destroy ourselves, but live out in prosperity and peace for a much longer time. Who knows? It is a collective dream, and it really is all up to us. It's not just all up to one individual. So I'll continue here. It is difficult to believe there ever was such a continent as Atlantis or its Pacific Ocean counterpart, Lemuria. And yet the idea intrigues us and becomes more believable the more we study the Cayce data. From the readings, we find that a great civilization once existed in the North Atlantic, in the location known as the Sargasso Sea, on a large continent about the size of Europe and Russia combined. Cayce said that it was first populated about 10.5 million years ago, that many upheavals and changes took place during the 200,000 years of its culture, and that it was finally destroyed after 3 major cataclysms several thousand years apart, the final one being about 10,100 BC. In 1958, a highly qualified research geologist compared Cayce's reading on Atlantis with geological concepts of the present day, and then compiled a study of this in a pamphlet with a jawbreaker of a title, A Psychic Interpretation of Some Late Cenozoic Events Compared with Selected Scientific Data. This revolutionary study represents a new approach. He has given a new dignity to seemingly far-fetched ideas of man and his history. Science agrees tentatively now that the Earth is about 5 billion years old and has been changed about many times in its long life. Where there was once ocean, there are now cities. Where there are cities and farms, great fishes once swam. Volcanoes, earthquakes, floods, and just plain erosion had shaken up in the sun. Uh-oh, guys, I don't know if you can hear me. 1 second here. Can you tell me if you can hear me and hear the sound? Oh. I just thought of something. Okay, I'm going to come back because I don't know if you can actually hear me. So part 2 is coming.